Hello and welcome to Pints and Quarts, a show presented by Craft Beer Nation. Today is April 2nd, 2015, and our guest this hour is Brent Cordle. Brent is the barrel aging and pilot system manager at Odell Brewing, just a little bit north of Denver, Colorado. Our show tonight is sponsored again by our good friends at craftbeveragejobs.com. Check them out for jobs in the beer, wine, and coffee industries. We want you to stick around for our conversation with Brent, so get your beer in a glass and get comfortable. In fact, while the music is playing, now would be a great time to take a few seconds and subscribe to our YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes channels.
Time now for a look back at the last week in the craft beer industry. Pour a cold one and sit back for an all-new episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation.
All right, thanks for joining us, everyone, tonight. Got a smaller panel. Got Randy, Charles, Gil, myself, Matt, and our guest, Brent Cordle. Brent from Odell Brewing. Brent, how are you tonight?
Doing great. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us here. Just a little light conversation about your background, Odell's background, and the kind of things you got coming next. So let's just start off with your background, Brent. How did you get into brewing, and how did you wind up at Odell?
I got into it when I was underage.
Awesome.
That's when I fell in love with beer, really. Growing up in Fort Collins, Colorado, was kind of it was where the craft beer boom began, really, and I started getting big in the late '90s, and it was around when I was finishing up high school, and just knowing about the the good beer around town, and then as I was getting older and old enough to actually legally get into drink some beer, I was lucky enough to get there was a job offering for a delivery sales position at Odell Brewing, and so I hopped on it and had a few interviews and got lucky, and they threw me on. So I've been riding that wave ever since. I did delivery sales for a couple of years and some bottling, some kegging, some warehouse backup, some line cleaning around town. I've pretty much done everything there is to do in the beer world, really, for working at a brewery. And then a few years after doing delivery, I decided I wanted to get more in the brewing side of things and save my back. So I got talked to my director of production, and he let me. I asked him if I could get in a little more on this side, and he just happily took me in on that side of things and cellared for a little while. And then I got in our main brew house probably in 2005 and started brewing on there full time. And in about 2009. I was offered the position to manage our pilot system program, basically kind of our R&D side of things, and just kind of playing around, having fun, and creating new styles for our tap room. And then we were just starting to blow up our, not blow up, but just starting our barrel aging side of things at that point. And we needed someone to kind of man that as well. So I kind of got lucky, and here I am today. I've been doing the barrel aging and pilot system R&D for about 5 years now, and just having a blast.
Well, they say timing is everything, so being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude means a whole lot. So
yeah.
So I'm trying to do the math here. How many years total with the brewery?
14 years in May, so next month.
All right. Yeah, congratulations on that alone. No matter where you're working, 14 years at one place is great.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Thanks.
So you've seen a lot of changes there.
I have.
What's the brew house now? What's the how many barrels are they brewing at now?
We have a 133 barrel Braucon brew house now. When I started, we had a 50 barrel Newland system brew house, and we just installed that 100 barrel brew house in October of 2013. So we've been working on that a little over a year and a half now. And it's an amazing system. It's beautiful. If you guys are ever in the area. Did you just
expand your cellar or something like this? Some new fermenters this last year?
We've added some more 400 barrel fermenters to keep up with the new brew house, and then we also just purchased the building next to us, which will be part of the kind of my little playground, and we're going to make it our new barrel aging side of things, and we're going to kind of separate our wild beers and segregate them to keep things a little safer. In the past we've been trying to work with the space that we had and risking a lot of potential contamination with sour beers and bugs being really close to our house yeast and things like that. And now we got the opportunity that came along for us to purchase the building next to us, and it's got a nice big warehouse. And yeah, so we're going to do everything over there when it comes to wild, sour, funky types of beers. So looking forward to that.
Wow, how long until we start to see those guys roll out that kind of stuff on the shelf, or is it all going to be tap room till you figure it out?
No, we still have some sours that come out regularly. The past few years, we've had our Freak, which is a cherry raspberry. It's a Framboise Creek blend of styles basically. And then we just released a golden raspberry sour, and that just came out in February, I believe. So we've been doing it, but it's just been kind of a risky type thing. And now that we can do we have enough space to do a little more volume of those, and kind of push the envelope a little bit more and get those beers a little further out than what we've been limited, I guess, as far as how far they can get out away from the brewery.
So any new things coming out of the barrel age area there? You do most of barrel age, but you do some pilot, some other stuff too, right?
Yep, pretty much. I mean, I do all the pilots. So when it comes to a new sour beer, and even everything that's coming out on a larger scale is usually born on the pilot system. We do it on a small scale, and if we're doing a sour beer, we want to have an idea about a sour beer. We'll do it on a real small scale, and if it goes over well, then we'll talk about doing it on a larger scale. And yeah, we got a pineapple sour coming out in a couple months. Really looking forward to that one. That one's not barrel aged or anything, but it's just lactobacillus, a little bit of Brettanomyces in there, and just been souring with some pineapple juice and basically a nice wheat beer, ale primary, and then we added some bugs to it and let that just kind of age, and it's to the point now where we're really happy with it, so we're getting ready to release that one.
I'll give you my address when we get off the air. I think it goes without being said that you have one of the more fun jobs, or the more desirable jobs in craft beer, in that you get to just try new things all the time. I mean, is there like a inspiration behind a lot of the recipes that you come up with, or do you just like go to bed and dream? Do you keep a notepad on your lampstand so that you can jot things down when you wake up?
I mean, yeah, I definitely take whatever I hear whenever I'm traveling around and trying new beers. I definitely take notes and try to do something like that on the pilot system, put it on my list, I guess, so to speak. But I get a lot of ideas from employees. We try to keep all of our employees involved, and that's one of our things too at the brewery. Is every employee that works at the brewery gets an opportunity to brew on the pilot system, and we have a lot of avid home brewers, as you would guess, that work for the brewery, and so people get really excited about that. And been reaching out a lot to accounts of ours that have been supporting us for a long time, and kind of teaching them what we do and bringing them in and letting them do a pilot brew with us if they have ideas, and then they in turn get to tap a beer at their house and know that they were a part of it. And it's fun for us to kind of show them what we do. Beer doesn't just magically happen. It's a lot of work, and we have a good time doing it. So.
Well, if you guys ever thought about doing a hazelnut chocolate stout, I know somebody here who has a hat on would be more than happy to buy several cases of that.
Yeah, you can fly to Fort Collins and get it. Yeah,
I'll throw it on the list.
Yeah.
What was that? Was a Freak? Was that the sour or?
Yeah, that's one of our. Creek. That's one of our favorite sours. So that's it's a Creek originally. It's a Belgian Creek Lambic, and then we ferment that primary in our stainless, and then we throw that in oak for a while. Add some raspberries to that. So basically, we just kind of blend the two styles together, the Framboise and a Creek, and then that's where you get the Freak. And that's one of our favorites. We won. I think we took down a gold medal for oak age 12. I want to say at GABF.
Oh, nice.
So that was definitely one of our favorites, and that's one of the ones. Barrel House up on that, and get more bottles out to all of our markets, so it's still available to everybody.
So don't be afraid that when I give you that address, just go ahead and
Throw a couple of those things in a
throw a
box
couple
too.
of those.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, those of us in Virginia can all share. Hey, what's your? Unfortunately, I don't. Randy, does Odell come to you in Northern Virginia?
No, well, at least I haven't seen it.
I don't see it around here, so we're not very familiar with your year-round and your seasonal rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys got your spring seasonal is probably out and run? Do you have a summer seasonal that's coming out here soon, or a new release of some kind that you want to talk about?
Sure. Yeah, we do. We have our St. Lupulin comes out every year. It's our extra pale ale. It's a really nice, hop forward in the nose, but not so bitter. Really aromatic, citrusy, a lot of nice lemon characteristics. But it's about 6.5%, so it drinks a lot lighter than it is actually, which is really fun. People enjoy that one a lot. That's coming up there. That'll be releasing, I believe, in a couple weeks.
What was the name of that? What was the name of that beer again?
St. Lupulin.
St.
Lupulin.
All right. Now I got it.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you hop burst that beer to get get a lot of hoppiness without the bitterness?
It's just a lot of late additions, really. I mean, we try to keep our beers pretty balanced and not make them overly bitter. And it's just it's a very lightly bittered beer during the boil, and afterwards we hit it really heavy with a big dry hop as well as a hop back. A lot of our hoppy beers feature our hop back. Actually, all of our hoppy beers do, where we use whole leaf hops as well as pellets in the kettle. So, just enables us to really dive into different hops and really get every type of characteristic you can get out of every hop at every stage of the brew.
Okay. What's and like Matt said, we don't get your beer here in Virginia. So what is your flagship beer? I know I see a lot of people drinking Lugene a lot and love it a lot. Gil being one right now at the moment.
Nice.
What's the beer that Odell is known for? What's your flagship?
90 Shilling is definitely our flagship. That was the one that Doug started out with back in 1989. Doug Odell, I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still, was our number one seller then. It's still our number one seller. And our IPA is right behind it, closely following. It's grown quite a bit just because it's a great IPA, and it's just the IPA phenomenon among craft beer lovers. So.
Did you guys barrel age 9 Shilling? What was that?
We have. We did a 180 Shilling. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, that's the one.
That was for our 25th anniversary last September. We released a oak aged, basically just a double 90 Shilling, but we named it 180 Shilling. So that one turned out great too.
Not many places can have a big malt forward beer like that as their flagship. I mean, that kind of says something about the quality of the brew, I would think.
Yeah, it's definitely not your typical amber ale. I mean, it's a Scottish amber ale, I guess, by style. It really doesn't have a style. We've always had a hard time trying to place it in judging competitions. It's not an amber, it's not an IPA, it's not a pale ale. It's got nice hop characteristics. It's got about, I think it's maybe 35, 40 IBUs. But it's just a very unique style, and it's to its own really what it is, and it's one of those, it doesn't fit a style, but everybody seems to like it, and it's still they'll reach for it quite a bit.
Well, it sounds like we've got a lot of things to look forward from you guys, especially when you ramp things up and can distribute into Virginia for the greedy sons of guys.
I don't think they distribute in the East Coast at all anywhere.
No. The furthest east we go is Missouri, and there's no plans of us going any further than that within the next 10 years. We're going to try to stay mostly regional and keep the beer as fresh as we can, as close to the brewery as we can. So sorry, Randy, but I can get your address. So.
So thanks for crushing that dream.
I saw the look on your face.
But you came right back and you did CPR on it, and they came back to life. So it's all good.
Well, it's just some amazing beer, yeah. So that's
come
why.
out and visit.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition a
Yeah.
little bit here to the second part of the show with the review of the week. And the review of the week comes from Mark Robinson. And I'm going to try and say this. His website is Fermentedly Challenged. In fact, he is a Colorado native. I think he's got a brew. What is he? He writes for Brutally Insane. I don't know if that's something that you recognize out there,
I do
Brent, or not.
not.
But he reviewed Lejeune, and this was it's on his website. Like I said, Fermentedly Challenged, and he
Okay.
reviewed the Lejeune chocolate milk stout review. First thing I got was a semi-sweet chocolate taste. Reminded me of baking chocolate with some additional sweet in there. The beer was more sweet than bitter, smooth going down. The roast is subdued also. The chocolate really comes through on this. Definitely like a dessert beer. Can't really pick up on the higher ABV initially. It's well hidden. Probably one that's going to sneak up on you. Gil, how would you take that review as gospel, as truth? You're drinking it right now. What do you think? You're muted.
I don't think it's warm as he's saying there. I think it's one of those beers that it can easily deceive you. You know, you can drink a couple of it without thinking the whole ABV. I think it's one of the best milk stout on the market. You know, there's only a handful that I would say that, and Lejeune is one of the. It's a very solid milk stout, but taste. You know, you get that body of a stout that you like. It's not warm at all for me though. It's more pleasant drinking.
You know, you're comparing it to other milk stouts on the market, but it's really chocolate forward, right? I mean, would you call it a dessert beer like?
I wouldn't call it dessert beer. I would call it chocolate forward. I would drink that beer before, during, and after dinner. So.
Before, during, and after dinner. You heard it there, folks.
That's a good beer. I like it.
I'm telling you.
Well, Randy, take us through our first story here tonight, the Yingling one.
So obviously we all know that Yuengling is now included in the definition of what craft beer is, since the Brewers Association changed the definition when I think it was the very beginning of last year. I think it was they changed the definition. And prior to Yingling being under the craft beer umbrella, that title has been held by Boston Beer, the makers of Sam Adams. And now that Yingling has been allowed in, Boston Beer is now number 2. I mean, never mind the fact that Boston Beer did 4.1 million barrels in 2013. I mean, that's an insane that's an insane amount of beer. But to be fair, that includes Twisted Tea and the Angry Orchard line of their products. So Boston Beer has been at the top of that category for so long, and now Yingling, the oldest brewery in America, is now the top dog. But this is based solely on volume alone. So I don't know. I mean, well, obviously a lot of people drink Yingling because they're selling more than 4.1 million barrels a year.
And they only distribute on the East Coast. Nothing goes. I think Tennessee is as far as they go.
Oh my goodness, that says a lot.
And it's still family owned, so I think it's just fair that they are part of this movement.
That says a lot.
Yeah, I certainly don't question adding them to the ranks. Did you say Yingling makes Angry Orchard, or Sam Adams does?
Sam Adams.
Sam does. Sam Adams.
Yeah. So Yingling makes more Yingling than Sam Adams makes everything. I mean, that's what it kind of comes down
basically.
to.
Yeah.
And they've only got 3 or 4 beers. They've got a light and the regular, a light, and then like a black and tan or something.
Yeah, black. Mm-hmm. They're trying to branch out. They did wheat this year, and I think they trying to remember if they did pumpkin.
Summer wheat that just came out.
Right. Yeah, and they're trying to branch out to be a little more. But the lager, the traditional lager is their forte, and it's it's a pretty tasty beer.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not a bad option. I mean, it's like you said, it's not a bad beer. I think it tastes good, but a lot of people kind of frown upon them because they just now joined the ranks of craft beer. But then again, at the same time, we lose sight of the fact that Yingling is a large, or if not the reason why, the numbers that just came out a couple of weeks ago saying craft beer has increased in their market share so much, it's gone up because now you got Yingling under the umbrella, and they kind of boost those numbers up. I'm not sure exactly what Yingling's annual production is on a barrel basis, but obviously it's more than 4.1 million and less than 6 million. And other, you know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of beer. So that's
and I don't mind that number being skewed. I've always felt like when we're looking at that number, and we're looking at craft beer and its growth segment, its growth markets, we've always been comparing craft beer is everything other than Bud Miller Coors, right? I mean, everything, so yeah, Yingling really isn't the little guy down on the corner here that's making 1.5 barrel batches of cool beers, but they're doing business practices a little bit differently than some of those huge channel partners are. So.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. They are, family owned. They're not predatory or anything,
They have a good reputation too. And every time I go to the East Coast, I want some Yuengling. I mean, it's the first thing I want to get.
Yeah,
it's funny because they don't they don't even come close to us. It's just they have that reputation. It's good.
Yeah, I think right now the Yingling marketing guys are making a cut of 7 seconds of Brent Cordle from Odell saying, every time I go to the East Coast, I want a Yingling. I mean, you guys are in opposite markets, so you're allowed to like each other, right?
Yeah.
So,
but
we're
Matt, real
all
quick,
in it for the same thing.
That's right.
From that list of the biggest or the top craft breweries in America, Bell's moved up a spot to number 7, pushing the Shoots down to number 8. There's a brewery out of Monroe, Wisconsin called Minhas, Minhas. Never heard of them. Minhas Craft Brewery. They made their debut at number 10 this year. Founders moved up to 17 from 26, and 21st Amendment moved up to 41 from 50 last year. So
who is Minhas in Wisconsin at number 10?
I have
they
no
must
idea.
Must own a couple breweries. I'm curious now.
Yeah, someone's gonna have to Google that thing.
Huh?
What was the list about?
Those are just the notable breweries within the top craft breweries in the country as far as production goes.
Yeah.
The top 50 as far as production goes.
What did you guys make last year? In barrels, Brent.
Barrels, we just broke 100,000 barrels.
Okay.
Awesome.
So,
I've never heard of
that's a full-time job with it. Yeah.
I've heard of every brewery in the top 20. Every brewery in the top 20 I've heard of, except for 2, Minhas and Matt Brewing Company out of Charles's neck of the woods.
Matt is Saranac.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I've heard of them all except for Minhas.
Which we find out what Minhas, it's probably like Leinenkugel or something. So
I think their production is big because I think they have something in Canada, if I'm not wrong. I should know that because I look at that. Because I had the same problem as Randy when I look at the list and I'm like, who are those guys?
Yeah, definitely not like New Glarus or something. So
they might be somebody like England that is just on a different part of the country that we're not used to.
Yeah. But for me too, it's like I'm surprised Founders is that much farther down, only because of geography. We've been getting Founders for years, and we just started getting Bell's like a year ago. So since I'm less familiar with Bell's as a brewery, I had no idea that they outsold Founders or outproduced Founders that much.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. There's not only more Oberon on the shelves on the wagons here, because the punking from South here is too taking over the shelves. They're probably gonna have that same beer all the way to next October.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got Oberon in cans out here for the first time.
So it looks like their Minhas, their top beers are, they make one called Lazy Mutt, which is a Alberta wheat ale. Sounds Canadian. Imperial Jack Double IPA, Mountain Crest Classic Lager, Huber Bach, Boxer Watermelon, Boxer Gluten Free, and Boxer Lager. So
how have we never heard of this? And they're the 10th largest craft brewery by volume.
I don't know.
Those Wisconsin folks love their beer up there, I guess.
Yeah, they have a distillery as well. So
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look for a blog post later as we discover a brand new, huge, ginormous
Yeah.
brewery. All right. Well, let's talk about the job of the week. It's going to take like 2 seconds. This is a great one. If you guys are out there, our viewers are looking for the entry-level job, and you're in Sarasota, Florida, J Dubs Brewing Company is hiring a brewer's assistant. This is on craftbeveragejobs.com. You can log in there and put your resume up and apply for this job, or get your resume put in for this job right through the website. J Dubs Brewing in Sarasota has just entered year 2 of operations. We have a 15-barrel brew house, 6 30-barrel fermenters, and 1 30-barrel bright tank with 2 60-barrel fermenters on the way. We also have a 3-barrel brew house with 2 smaller fermenters that we use to feed the tap room and conduct R&D. Looks like they've got some cask 1 semi-automatic canning line. I like automatic canning lines. They're pretty cool. So if you're interested in getting your foot in the door at a brewery and you're not going to just fall into it like Brent Cordle did at Odell 15 years ago, check out J Dub's job listing on craftbeveragejobs.com. All right, there's another job on there that was like accounting manager or something. So, if you don't want to start at the bottom of the food chain and you got some accounting skills, I guess they're hiring too. And like stunned silence. Are you all logged in to craftbeveragejobs.com?
Exactly.
You
want to work for J Dubs.
Well, in Sarasota, Florida's got it. Well, I would probably want to move to Florida in like November, and really take advantage of the stuff down there. So, let's move on to the beer releases. Hardywood in Richmond has got Foolery Imperial Stout. It's aged for 8 months in bourbon barrels for a 4% ABV.
I want to try that just because of that.
Yeah, right.
A bourbon barrel aged stout that's 4% ABV.
Yeah.
That sounds more like a porter.
I was pretty well done with April Fool's Day by about 8 o'clock yesterday morning. I mean, I was so tired of everything, but the best one I saw was someone posted right on Facebook that Hardywood had a problem in Trickery. 3/4 of their Trickery bright tank went down the drain. They had a problem like 2 years ago, and they lost gingerbread stout. And the very first comment on the Facebook post was from Eric McKay, who is the owner, one of the founders and owners of Hardywood. He said, "Man, my heart just nearly stopped." So if you're gonna fool anybody, fool the management of
the owner.
Yeah, the owner.
Well, New Glarus, All About Beer magazine did one on New Glarus. I wanted you to see. There's about like 100 comments in there, like people in Wisconsin with bananas. A lot of people didn't realize it was April Fool's Day, and they were telling that New Glarus had some problem and they are moving out to Wisconsin. I mean, people just went riot.
That one's an easy one to sniff out, though. The ones that are more subtle and more believable are the ones that really get you to bite. But believe me, I'm glad today is the 2nd of April, because I still am burnt out on reading the posts. So Santa Fe, our good friends at Santa Fe, have the Freestyle Pilsner. That's their summer seasonal that comes out here just Saturday, the 4th of April. Heavy Seas has got Double Cannon. That's their double IPA. Came out yesterday. I've got to try that. I like a lot of their hoppy offerings, actually all their offerings. But Port Brewing Lost Abbey has got Red Poppy Sour Brown Ale and Duck Duck Goes Wild Ale. Duck Duck Goes Wild.
It's Goose Wild. Yeah.
Goose Wild. Duck Duck Goose Wild. All right. Deschutes has got Pinder Ops IPA in 6-packs beginning next week. Victory from Pennsylvania has got a Kirsch Goza brewed with cherries. Wow. Old style Lichtenheiner Goza.
And Doug had it today. Yeah, he posted a picture today. He just had it. He said it was quite good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm getting that this weekend.
Yeah, the Lichtenheiner Goza is the one's done with cherry. So
okay, I saw it. It looked like strawberry colored in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the cherries come in, huh? It looked like cherry colored in the glass. Let me correct. Revolution out in Chicago. It's got double beer. It's a release. Wee Jean Imperial Porter and the Destroyer double IPA came out yesterday. Bell's, no real big surprise. And Oberon, I think they had their big Oberon release party today, so people in Michigan are losing their mind for their summer wheat ale from Bell's.
Losing their minds
Breckenridge,
for
we had
Weedo.
had them on last week. They've got their Breck IPA. You can actually check out our YouTube channel and see a quick little clip of them talking about that IPA that comes out next week. That is going to be delicious. I can't wait. Did they say when we talked about that they're doing like a release where it's going to be kind of hitting the shelves all around the same time, like a scheduled release?
I don't know, because they're gonna have a big party. I got an
Yeah.
invite on the, because I subscribed their emails. I don't remember. It just
Yeah.
says, look for it next week. That's all it says.
All right, well, then look for it next week. I think they were going to try and hit all their markets about the same time with that one, so that'll be something delicious to look forward to. And recap here, Brent, what was your release that was coming out here? My mind can't go back 20 minutes.
It's called St. Lupulin. That's one of the seasonals we've
Pale
had coming out the past few years. I also wanted to bring up, like you mentioned, a couple styles. We have a Blackberry Goza coming out this summer
Ooh.
in August 1. It's going to be offered in 4-packs, low ABV, but really unique style. And it seems like Gozas are the new, they're becoming pretty popular
Yeah.
among a lot of breweries. After you guys just talked about a few there. So we're excited about that one. Did a couple test batches already. And
have you brewed a test batch for that already? Then you've got it all figured out?
Yep, we did a couple of them already, and we know what we want, and we're actually going to be brewing the big batch, I believe, in a couple weeks here, and then it will be shipping out shortly after that. But yeah. And then we just released our Tree Shaker Pure Life Peach IPA.
Oh, I love that beer.
All right,
it's so weird to see in a small bottle.
A pineapple sour, a blackberry Goza, and
yeah, the pineapple sour will be. Yeah, we've been doing a lot with fruit. Just invested in a new pump, so we're taking advantage of that pump that can handle strong purees, thick purees, and things like that. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what else? We have an Oktoberfest coming out for the first time this summer, and I shouldn't say summer, but we're releasing it in mid-August, so it'll be on the shelves everywhere by September when you want an Oktoberfest.
Yeah, right. And that's going to be a traditional style Oktoberfest. I mean, you're not going to put strawberries or. I mean,
no fruit in this one. We actually already brewed a couple of them, and they are lager, and we're trying to do as traditional as possible. We got that German. Yeah, we have that German Braucon brewhouse system, so we want to use it to its full extent.
Cool.
And
all right, well,
I don't know if you guys are familiar. I'm sure you are, but the Rare Beer Club. Are you guys in that club at all by chance, or is that something that's not? We're shipping. We have a new double IPA that's been barrel aged in exclusively brand new toasted oak barrels that we get custom made for us, and we're releasing about 30 barrels of that to it's called the Rare Beer Club. So if anybody on the East Coast or people who can't get our beer are interested in trying to get hold of that, I'd look in the Rare Beer Club and seeing if you could maybe become a part of that to get some of that beer.
All right, check out Google the Rare Beer Club, and you will find all the answers. Festival-wise, North Carolina Beer Month. I guess we're just going to keep talking about this one because it's all the way through the end of the month. So that is various locations in North Carolina. New York, New Jersey's Craft Brewer Face Off. It's in Newark on April the 7th. Tri-Cities Craft Beer Week. That's Johnson City, Kingsport, and Bristol. 2 of those in Tennessee, 1 in Virginia. That's the 4th through the 11th. That's coming up here starting Saturday. LA's Beer Festival is April 4th. That is a one-day event. Portland Spring Beer and Wine Fest is April 3rd and 4th in Portland, Oregon, obviously. And we will be at Savor in Washington, D.C. That's on 5th and 6th of June. So that's something we're going to talk about every couple of weeks. Really excited about it. Got our tickets. Got some tickets for salons. And apparently Brent says it's awesome. This is our first trip to Savor this year. So that
amazing.
is the news. Would anybody else have festivals to talk about?
There is one, and we'll probably be mentioning it later in the next couple of weeks. The TAP New York is coming up in like the Hunter Mountain area, April 25th and 26th. I'm going to try to go to that one since that's generally like only about 3 hours away. But that's like one of the big like upstate New York festivals. So.
Yeah. It's further than Omegang though. You seem to really.
It's not too far away from Omegang. It's in that general vicinity, so
that's
will
an
probably
opportunity
be
to go to
involved as
Omegang
well.
while you're out there. Yeah.
Yeah, because the new Game of Thrones Three-Eyed Raven is about to be released as well.
Yeah.
Time with
Oh yeah,
Game
for
of
the start of
Thrones.
the new season here.
I'm looking at my list
so
here.
I
New
will
York
be
is
making
doing
a trip.
New York's doing a lot of festival this coming year. They're really getting into the festivals.
Well, it's a great way. Yeah.
Yeah, and Omegang is part of the Belgium Comes to New York, which is a whole big thing in Cooperstown as well. That's going to be, I think, in the summer.
All right. Well, that is all the news from around the nation here, the Craft Beer Nation. We really appreciate Brent taking some time out of his busy life and showing us that there's the dog that was yapping earlier, but really kind of calmed down for the show. That worked out pretty well.
That was actually a different dog. This guy's pretty chill. But yeah.
That's right. You said the other one was a Pomeranian or something. So
yeah.
That's not a Pomeranian next to you on the couch.
No.
So thanks, Brent, for your time. Thanks for
Sure.
coming on here and talking about Odell Brewing, Fort Collins, Colorado. So if you're in their distribution range and you're in the west of Missouri, I guess, get some of their beer. Try the beer. I guess this Lugine is pretty tasty, and then ship some of it here to Virginia so those of us on the East Coast can enjoy it. And really, just until next week, everybody, find some great beer, find some good friends, mind those P's and Q's.
This has been Pints and Quarts, brought to you by Craft Beer Nation. You can show your support for our podcast by subscribing to our content on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, or our website, craftbeernation.org. Thanks for listening.